Jim Harbaugh spoke yesterday, and as you would imagine, plenty of questions came up about the looming suspension from the NCAA because he's being accused of lying to the NCAA. And all he would say is basically no comment. I can't talk about it. Love to talk about it. I'm not ashamed of anything, but I can't talk about this right now. It's still ongoing. I can't talk about it. Some people think that they're negotiating the suspension to be less than the 4 games. Some people think it's 4 games, and if he doesn't cop to it, that it might be more than 4 games. We'll see how it plays out, but either way, it's a suspension nonetheless that is absolutely looming. But they weren't going to get any answers on that front, the media. And you can understand why, because it's ongoing. I don't have any problem with that. So you start talking football. And Michigan is one of the preseason favorites to have a shot at the national championship. This is the preseason favorite to win the Big Ten. People don't think Ohio State's going to challenge them for it. Jim Costa says his sleeper team is Penn State because they bring so much back. I think it's interesting. But Michigan brings back a ton of talent. They have 2 guys in the offensive line that are first-team All-American types. They bring back an incredible tandem of running backs. They bring back an experienced quarterback. They have some key players on defense, pass rusher here, a linebacker, Junior Colston, and Will Johnson in the secondary. There's a lot of really good talent on Michigan's team, even though they've lost a lot of talent off their playoff teams in each of the last 2 years. Michigan has built themselves up. Right now, they're in the run where they're reloading, and if you're a Michigan fan, it's pretty cool to see. But something that Michigan has always done, is talk about their own product, and they pump up themselves. And I'm not saying this to be derogatory because I don't think it's derogatory. I think it's worked for Michigan. I think if anything, they've always been able to put their brand above all else. Because University of Michigan football program is absolutely a brand. It's a blue blood program. It's a brand in college football. It's a brand in all of sports. And they didn't get there by accident. And I think what happens is with Michigan is that they get the conversation started when it comes to any kind of hype about the team. I mean, it's a hype machine they've got at Michigan. There are things that Jim Harbaugh said yesterday that just continue to feed in to that hype machine. But they're backing it up now, and that's the difference. We've heard Michigan players get hyped up before, but before it didn't come up with the same results. When Tate Forsay was being hyped up, and then you get the September Heisman talk and all that stuff, it didn't pan out. This is a team where it could all pan out, but this is very effusive in his praise of J.J. McCarthy. He had a nice season last year. Maybe not as good as Michigan fans had hoped, but he was good. And it's a great starting point to see what he can do this year with even more experience, coming in healthy and really understanding the offense. And I think it's helped out tremendously by that offensive line and the running game that they have. And, oh, by the way, he's talented. He's really good too. But you can't help but look at this as the hype machine that they're building up. Do you get nervous at all as a Michigan fan when it's the coaching staff that keeps pumping up the players? Not talking in generalities about, our offense should be good or our defense should be good, but talking in specifics. Saying that your quarterback is a once-in-a-generational type of quarterback. When you say things like, Dono and Blake and Dono, doesn't get better than that when talking about your running backs. When you make comparisons to your current quarterback to the best quarterback in the world right now. So do you get nervous or uncomfortable at all with the hype that comes from within their own football building? Other players and teams have been super hyped before, but with questionable results. But this is why, in my opinion, Michigan is always talked about. They're always talked about because they start the conversation, and it's a formula that works in building their brand. And I can't fault them for it. And I wonder if maybe this is a formula perhaps Michigan State should follow every once in a while. to build yourself up and start talking about your own players the way that team down the road does. Michigan does it maybe better than anybody else does. And when their head coach is up front and saying it, I just wonder if you ever get uncomfortable when you hear that kind of praise being talked about. But this is a season, another one. Look, it's back-to-back years. This is a playoff team. And now this could be a third playoff-bound team and one that might be the most talented team and has a chance for a national championship.